Welcome back to Wednesdays with Whitmore Equestrian. I'm going to do my course walk for my 3-star here at Richland today, and it's very impromptu, so enjoy the walk. Alright, coming into our first fence, it's very bright and it's quite a substantial size for the first one. So you need to make sure when you come out of the start box you have enough horse coming up to the first one, not that you just kind of crawl over it. So come out of the start box with enough vigor and really attack the first one to get a good start. Coming up to our second fence, it's a pretty big table. This was an open oxer last year, so I'm quite happy that they filled it in. This is our second fence, and we've just come down a nice big hill. You need to kind of keep that gallop from the hill, but don't let it carry you too far down and out the hill. You need to make sure you bring the shoulder around and straighten up for the fence so you don't compromise your approach. We're going to be going into the woods there in the corner, so you need to make sure that you are nice and straight coming over this, not that you're drifting to the left from the turn and end up angling up the hill, or vice versa and going way out of the way. You're going to come around down the hill, do a little bit of balancing just as you hit the kind of lower spot there, pick the head up, and then kind of push them on to a nice side gallop to the table. Coming up to fence number 3, we've just come through a windy, narrow path through the woods. A lot of times that'll back horses off. They don't like to go blindly galloping into the woods. So you need to make sure that as you're coming up the hill out of these woods that you do have a nice strong canter. You want your horse to feel like he's pulling you, taking you out of the woods, especially coming up to a skinny, wide table that we have here. So we're going to stay on the inside of this curve because this table is set a little bit on an angle. So stay on the inside of the turn, keep the head up so you're not just getting there on a flat stride. Keep the head up and just ride up to it from the back end. And it's narrow enough that you want to make sure that your horse does know that you're jumping it, but keep him centered and look straight through. Sit up and kick. Alright, we just came off a nice long gallop from our big oxer table, skinny. And you can have a nice rolling gallop because you don't want to be slow, you need to make time. And right about coming around here, you need to think about making your turn and having the right canter for it. So you got to pick your shoulders up, pick your horse's shoulders up, get them right between your hands and your legs. Start looking for your fence. You don't want to turn until you see your focal point. So for me, I have picked a big tree. It's the big round one. And I know that my second fence, there's an AB, is going to be in line with that one. So I line up with my big round tree in the background, and this is an angled brush, so I need to be accurate. I'm going to have my whip on the left side so I prevent a run out to the left. I'm going to have my horse between my hands and my legs, chest up, shoulders up, approaching the fence not at a flat gallop, but more of a springy but powerful gallop. Coming up to the fence, looking at my tree, keep my focal point. By this time I should possibly be able to see my skinny on the back side. Jump the jump, there's a down on the back side, so you need to stay sitting up. You don't really need to lean forward at all. Get up to the fence, and once I'm in the air I'll see my B, which is down on the back side. Landing down a hill, I'm going to land quite a bit of a ways out, probably around about here. While I'm still lined up with my big round tree, sets me up perfectly for my B, which is also on an angle. This is about 4 strides, and last year I rode this and it's kind of a going. So I land and let him carry the canter down the hill to this fence. I don't really want to get in his way too much, just keep his head up. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. And right about here, you're going to keep that left leg and that whip in your left very strong. You're looking straight through where you want to go. And you put your leg on, sit and squeeze, and through you go. And sit up because it's also downhill on the backside. Alright, we've just had a really, really nice long gallop after that combination down the hill. And we had just really long stretch. This is where you're going to be making your time. Don't want to do any pitter-pattering around. This is time to get going. So we're coming up the hill to a nice big oxer, and the top is filled in, thank God. And as you're coming up the hill, you don't want to lose too much speed. You want to keep the gallop, but keep the head up. So as you're coming up here, you're going to do a half halt around here just to say, pay attention, get your head up, we got something coming on. And pick their head up, they'll see it, and you send them on forward, and over you go. This is more of a gallop fence. You don't really want to waste time backing them up too much. You need to have a little momentum for this one. set up and go. Alright, so we've just done our nice big oxer, which is a great start to our course. We've had a lot of forward flowing fences, especially leading up to our water here with the big crowd. We're just going to be weaving through the trees coming up here, so you kind of need to have your horse paying attention but still keep the forward motion. Right about when you get up to these trees, just as you're coming out of the shade into that sun patch, you're going to do a little bit of half halt, say, okay, pay attention, we got some serious stuff coming up here. Then as we get just to the base of this hill, you're going to really ride up this hill. You need to have the momentum coming up to this because this is a decent sized log. It is somewhat soft, but they can't see what's on the back side. So you're coming out of the woods, you need to pick your horse up, and you're going to really ride up the hill, keep your hips moving, keep their legs moving. You're going to be strong up to this. You really can't ride up to this too powerful. You don't want to be blazing at it, but you want to have a strong moving canter coming up to this. Down on the landing side, we have a downhill, so your horse can't see the landing side of this. So they're going to kind of peek as they go over this. So you need to come up to this with enough power. You get up to this, you don't want to lean into this, you need to sit and squeeze, looking at your fence B as you're in the air. You're going over this log, you need to open up and sit back and prepare for the second fence. There's water down here, so your horse is also going to be looking at that. You never know if it's going to be squishy or firm. You're going to land somewhat far down this hill because it is landing down a hill. So you're going to land somewhere around here.
This is number 285.
This is, I believe, a 3-stride in here, and you need to kind of get there. Don't waste time. It's a pretty vertical jump. You don't want to get there and have it be a long spot. So you want to get up to it at a good spot. So 1, 2. And right about here, and some horses will kind of pause at that water because they don't like water, but you land and ride into it nicely and sit up and support for a pretty vertical fence. Don't lean into it, stay up and support, looking for your C element, which is a little bit of a turn to the right, and you will be jumping towards the crowd, which can be a big distraction for horses because they don't normally like to jump into people. Coming over this one, you're looking at fence C. It's about 7 strides. You do about 1 or 2 strides straight, and then you're looking and turning for C. So landing around here. 1. Gets you here at perfect 7. So once again, don't waste time in the water. It is a little bit deeper, closer to the fence. So you need to make sure you keep moving through there. Especially if we get more rain, it's going to get deeper. It's going to have more of a drag on your horse. To land 1 stride, and start turning. Line up straight for this. You're going to want to switch your whip to your left hand. Just kidding, it's already there. Whip in the left hand. More open eye to the right side of the fence. Looking straight through, and your horse is probably going to be very distracted by the crowd on the back side because there's always things moving and children and strollers and dogs and whatever. So, looking straight through, whip on the left, very strong left aids. Here you go. So we just came from the water, and that was a pretty big question for the horses, jumping towards the crowd and the water and everything. And so it's really nice of them. They have a nice table right after the water, kind of either lets your horse take a breather and get the confidence back if they had a little struggle at the water, or your horse has just gone through there and you think they're a freaking rock star, and you need to say, okay, now we just have a normal table here, just calm down a little bit. So a nice table coming out of the woods to decide which side of the tree we want to jump on, which is a little bit of a factor, but I'll decide that later. Once again, come through here, coming out of the woods into the sunlight, so it should be more inviting for the horses. Set them up a little bit and then just ride on. It's a nice table, so nothing too awful about this one. We just had a nice, really long gallop coming from our table after the water. Still keeping your horse moving forward. This is a really great part of the course. They kind of build your horse up a little bit before they ask you something difficult. Just coming up a little bit of a hill here, which is nice because it kind of draws you into this square table. Keep the gallop coming, a little bit of a balance here, and then let them keep coming on. You don't want to slow them down too much, just keep the balance up. They give you a really nice ground line here, especially with this really square table. And kick on. So this is probably one of our longest stretches that we have in between fences. We just came off two really nice inviting tables. Really encourages your horse to go forward, which is great because we have an awful combination now. So keep the gallop coming down this long stretch of corn, shocking corn, and just about as you're approaching this other fence here, you need to start picking your horse up. Still keep the gallop. You don't want to lose your momentum at all. You need to keep the shoulders up, keep the butt under. Pick your shoulders up, looking for fence A of our ABC here. And this is going to ride on a 5-stride bending line. You need to sit up, be looking for B. Sit up, keep the jump, keep the motion going forward over the fence, looking for B. This is going to be 5 strides. You could do it in 6 if you stay way out, but it's meant to be ridden for the 5. All right, so if you keep the right gallop, coming around here, land about here, looking for B, which is an awful brush. It's going to be 5 strides. This is 3 here. Right about here, you really need to be sitting up because you're coming down a hill. You need to balance for this. Don't take away from your horse's stride, just keep the head up and keep them pushing forward. That was 3, so puts you right about here, and this is huge. Don't look in it. You want to look over into the corn towards the sprinklers jumping off of the moon. Sit up, pray to God, get over it. As you're in the air, you need to be looking for C, which your horse will not see. You can only see this once you are in the air. Okay, quite tall here. You're gonna land about here. Way out here. Sit up, sit up, sit up. Good chance you're going to get pitched forward on landing, so can never really sit too far back. As you're in the air, you're looking for C, land. And you get here in 4. So we have a 5 to a 4. You're landing, you're bending, and it draws you in nicely. It's not an awful skinny. Your horse is looking for things by this point. You land, you keep your eye on it, you put the horse right between your hands and legs, and they give us a nice ground line that kind of curves and draws you into it. So you land, you sit up, you look right where you want to go, keep them right between your hands and legs. Wouldn't be a bad idea to have your whip in the right hand through this entire combination, and through you go. Just coming from our last combination, some of the horses might be a little bit drawn back. They might have just gone over that and gone, holy crap, that was really big, kind of scary. So they've given us a nice table oxer here to kind of get your horse built his confidence back up. You have a nice gallop coming up to it again, up a hill, which is always nice. And keep the gallop coming up, a little balanced before, keep his butt under him, keep your leg on, and just ride up here nice. It's really nice ascending oxer. It's got a good ground line, it's nice and round. I like these. These are good, nice ones to jump. This one rode great last year, so hopefully we'll have the same. Alright, so we just came from our nice ant oxer table there, and a nice gallop, coming forward again, pick up that pace. Coming up the hill, we have a corner right off of the turn of the corn, so you really need to set your horse up right for this. I plan to come galloping right up into here where this little gap of corn is. I'm going to set my horse up, really make sure he's even in both hands so that I can set up correctly for this corner. Make sure he's right where I need him. My whip I will have switched or will still be on my right side. I'm going to be looking at my corner but I'm going to stay out here until I see where I need to be, which is right about here. At this point, I'm going to bring his shoulder around. I'm going to open my inside A to my left leg and my left hand, invite him to go that way. Bring that shoulder around, but keep the canter. Don't lose him out this way. Keep him coming up. Keep him strong. Feel him in your hands. Feel him in your hands. Ride up to the corner. You're going to follow the angle of the top of the corner, which is the exact center of the triangle. You're going to jump parallel with that. Going towards the woods, you're also going to need to plan a left turn because you're going to be turning left as you land. Sit up, guard the right side, look through your fence. Landing, need to plan on turning left, so you'll still have that left rein open to encourage them to go left. Land around here. Then we have two nicer fences, kind of open. You don't have to back them up too much, but it is downhill, so you need to be well balanced. Alright, coming down this hill to this log. This is a lot like the log I had at Red Hills into water. You want to keep coming down the hill. You don't want to take away too much of the gallop once again. No word you ever want to take away too much. But you do need to keep their head up, keep them balanced. So they're coming forward, but they're coming forward up here. Sit up, really keep your seat in the saddle for this. You don't want to be leaning forward for it. You just need to sit and ride to it so that they jump over it nicely. Coming up to it, keep their head up. Once you're here, you kind of need to squeeze and support so that they really jump off the ground nice. And it is still going downhill on the back side, so you need to open up, let the reins slide a bit, and let them get their neck to land correctly. And we go on down the hollow up to our chicaner. Alright, we just came off our log, came down the nice hill, now we're starting to come back up the hill towards the chicaner. My horse is a little bit peaky. He likes to kind of look at it if I give him the chance, so I'm by no means going to underride this one. I'm going to come up here nice and powerful. Might even give him a little bit of a tap just to say, yeah, we're doing this. Kick him on, sit up, keep the uphill balance, which you should still have from coming up the hill. Look up the hill, don't look in the ditch, and support, and over you go. Just came from our chicaner, another nice long gallop between fences here. Want to stick to the inside. We had a nice 90-degree turn to the right here. So stay to the inside of the turn, keep coming up. It's a nice hill leading up to this table again, so it's really inviting and it just draws you in quite nicely. Just sets your horse up for the uphill balance to your fence. Don't have to do too much, just keep them balanced and keep them coming on forward, and hopefully it's right out of stride. So over you go. Alright, so coming up here is where we had our sunken road last year, and they've changed it up a little bit. We have a ditch at the bottom of where the sunken road used to be last year. So we've just come off a nice table, had a nice gallop, really have your horse's confidence up and feeling pretty good right now, which is great because we have a pretty technical question here. Going to come galloping up this long lane. Keep the canter coming, keep the gallop coming. You want to pick them up, but you don't want to lose the energy. You need to be revving the engine, but have the brakes at the same time. So you have a very strong, very bouncy, very powerful canter. As Dorothy Crowell always tells me, hunting bears, strong and aggressive, but quiet at the same time. So you're coming up here, you have a nice punchy canter, very bouncy, but very strong, very energetic, legs moving, legs moving. This is supposed to be like a grid exercise. It's going to be a one stride over the ditch to a one stride over the ramp. Coming up here, you're sitting strong, sitting quiet, but keeping the energy, looking at element C. As you come up to this, sit and squeeze, allow the reins to slide through your hands as your horse goes down the hill for landing. This is going to be a one stride here. You need your horse to jump across the bank because landing you have to take one stride, which is up a quite steep hill, and then you need to jump over another jump. So you don't want your horse to waste time by landing short on the back side of the ditch. You need them to land far so that they make their job easy on takeoff. So you're going to land about here. You want to jump the left side of this fence because you're going to be making a left turn. Shortest distance from A to B would be a straight line, so you stay on the left side, count stride, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right about here you're going to go hi-ya, jump across, not just over, because then you make your job really hard coming to element C. So hi-ya, jump across, So you're wanting to land here as much as you can. Looking at C, your whip is still on your right side from the last several combinations. You got one stride, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sit and squeeze with all you've got. Do not lean into this. You're only going to be asking your horse to drop his shoulders on this, and you really don't want to drop his shoulders over this after a hill. So, big kick over the ditch lands you further, puts you closer to the fence, allows them to jump from a better place. Sit up, look towards your crowd, and over the fence you go. If for some reason you should have a problem at C element of this coffin, we do have an option. If you have a run out, or if your horse stops, or you just don't feel like your horse is ready for the C element, you can cut through here between the advanced fence and the 3-star and come all the way around. And loop around, which is a very, very long route, and come up to this bench. Simple bench. It's definitely a long route, but it's easier if that's what you need, or if you have difficulties, which reapproaching C of the combination would be very difficult to do, and this would be your better option, which then you'd have to loop back around and continue on. Alright, so I've just come from the coffin, and we had a pretty good question there, so your horse might be a little bit backed off. So as we're coming up to this, you want to get a nice gallop coming through the turn, through the woods. Coming out into the sunlight, which is a little bit more inviting than being in the darkness, but you do have to be aware of the shadow of the tree here, because this is about the same time that we'll be riding tomorrow. Coming up to the palisade here, it's pretty upright, so you do need to be careful. Make sure your horse isn't too flat. You want to make sure they're up on their hindquarters with their shoulders up. Coming down the hill, you're going to do a little bit of a balance. Still keep the engine running, but not let it out the front end too much. You're going to sit up. You're going to jump this a little bit to the left side, just because it's a little smaller, and you set up better for the table at B. I'm going to sit up, coming over this one, don't want to lean into it, and open your reins on landing, because it is downhill again, so you need to expect them to kind of drop down a bit. B element is a 6-stride, and once again, you don't want to hold them up too much. You need to kind of let them get down to it. Just keep their balance and pick their head up a stride or two before you're getting to the fence, and just support them over the table down there. Land around here. Nice 6 strides. You could put in 7 if you half halt a little bit too much, and add in an extra stride if you're just not quite feeling comfortable. You want to make sure you're staying up and back here. Support. Don't lean down into it. That's when you jump too flat. You want to stay up here and support, but still keep them coming under. Right about here, and sail over, looking up into the distance. Keep everything up. Alright, we just came up the hill from our last combination, the palisade and the table. And it's a nice hill, but it does come down a bit, so just once again make sure the shoulders are up. And this one's pretty much just a basic gallop fence. It does have a ditch under it, but at this point in the game, your horse isn't really going to be looking for that, and these flowers pretty much cover it right up. But still don't want to underestimate it. Just keep coming forward up to it and keep your uphill balance. Should be just a nice gallop fence. Alright, this is another nice gallop fence. We've just kind of come over the peak of the hill. It flattens out a little bit here, so that's nice. Once again, just keep the shoulders up and keep riding on through here. You are going to be making a left turn over there to our other table, so you don't want to be looking too far in the distance. You do need to keep in mind that you're going to be making a left turn, so come just down the bank, a little half halt, and send them back on forward. This is a nice fence. They've got a great ground line, and it's nice and round on top, so we like those. And then just be looking to the left so you get that nice directional change. Alright, so we just came off of our wagon wheel jump, and coming around here, another nice hill. have been quite nice to us, building us up these hills to these jumps, which is very, very nice. You come rolling down the hill and back up around the corner. And you once again, should just be right out of stride. Keep the shoulders up, a little half halt if you need to. If they're getting flat, pick them up and send them right on forward. And they're added this lovely log on the back, which makes it even wider. So just stay up, let them get all the way over it before you start opening up. All right, and then we're leading up to our water. So this is a nice big bold fence to get their confidence up and make them feel really good before we prepare for one of our last combinations. Alright, we just came off of our big Philippa Humphreys table and they should be rolling at a pretty nice pace by now. Coming up to this water, we want to keep that rhythm, keep that energy, but we want to package it up a bit more. Get them nice and bouncy, nice and punchy up to this fence. Really want them to pick their feet up really quick through here and not waste too much time in the air. That is water on the landing of the second log, so you do need to keep supporting him all the way through there, but you don't want to come in here with a flat gallop like we have with the last 3 fences. So you need to package them back up and really put them on their hindquarters, but keep the engine revving. So this is a bounce through here, A, B. So we're gonna jump the left side of this log. These two are offset. Jump the left side of this one, it'll be the right side of the B element. As you're coming in over A, you need to be looking for C, which is the turtle in the water, because you need to be ready for that one as you're coming over this one. And once again, the water's on the back side. You need to be ready for them to kind of peak, so keep supporting so they don't pause in the air. And this is again a little bit more forward. You can take the outside bend and bend it out and have an extra stride, but trying to make time, so you want to stay on the inside but keep a powerful canter through here. So, and around here.
32.3. Stormfit Katie and Madeline Bachelor.
About a 3. So you need to come through here, get in this water, move up so that you get here in a good 3, not that it's a reach or a half stride and a miss. You need to jump in the water and kind of get there and make it happen without them getting strung out. Keep them up and jumping. And then over C and out of the water.
Junior training rider, your performance posted following the verify.
Alright, we saved the worst for last. We are coming down a hill near the end of the course, and we have a nice open, airy oxer. Yay, my favorite! So, we're coming down this hill, your horse is getting tired. This is where you really need to make sure that their shoulders are up, up, up. That shoulders that are down are shoulders that are going to hang a knee. So, keep the shoulders up, keep your body up, still keep the canter coming, keep them rolling down here. Don't lose your gallop just because you're trying to keep their shoulders up. Still keep them coming, keep the shoulders up, stay in your saddle, support them all the way over this, stay up, stay open. Encourage them to keep their shoulders up and look towards the horizon where you want to go. Don't look at the open areas. Alright, and keep the shoulders up and where you want to go. Alright, coming to the end of our course here, we've just come up another hill. Notice the pattern we have here. Coming up the hill, we have this big square table, which has corn on the top, which is really nice. It's a good visual for your horse to see the top and not kind of judge that wrong. You're just going to come up to this one pretty square, just ride it normal. We have a B element, and that's at an angle, so this one you're pretty much just going to ride square with the face of it. Once again, keep the uphill balance, just carrying on through the rest of the course. Get up here, support. They might be a little peaky at the corn, the bright yellow corn, but by this time it's the end of the course, they shouldn't really be looking at goofy things like that anymore. If your horse is feeling a little tired, you might need to give him a little bit of a tap just to say, come on, I know you're tired, but we got to finish this. We're almost there. So over this one, looking at B. As you're coming over A, you kind of want to pick a focal point in the distance so you make a nice straight line. Line the two up, land about here. Right about in this area is where your two stride will end. Looking straight through, whip is on your right side, support over this one, keep your chest up. Alright, coming up to our last fence here. We've just finished our last combination. We're coming up the hill, your horse is getting tired. You want to make the shortest route as possible without being ridiculous. You want to still be nice and safe to your last one. You'd hate to have a rotational or fall or something at your last fence. So coming up the hill, balance them up nicely, still make sure you have enough canter, enough gallop. Moving up here to this. Some horses will kind of duck their head a little bit with the arch over the top. So just remember, keep your chest and shoulders up. If they do tend to do that, you don't want to be any more of a hinder and break them down further. And it's bright, but it's end of the course, so your horse should be pretty well accustomed to these kind of things. And support to the last one because they're getting tired and they need your help all they can. And then on to the finish line and finish with a great ride. So hope you enjoy.